Hi, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, my name is Bethany and I cook with a competition barbecue team called 913 Barbecue. We had some pork in our freezer that needed to be cooked, so I thought I'd show you a video on how to cook a pork butt using your own grill at home. I'm going to use a Weber Kettle. Since we had quite a few pork butts to cook, I also have our competition cook fired up as well. So I'll give you a brief look at that, but I really want to focus on how you can use your grill at home to cook pork. So if you like this video, click like and make sure to subscribe. But with that, let's get to the video. Today I'm going to be smoking this 8-pound pork butt. The first thing I'm going to do is inject. Now I just use one of my favorite pork injections and I follow the instructions on the back of the packaging. You can of course use any pork injection that you'd like, but I find it keeps the meat nice and juicy during the cooking process. So here you're going to see me inject the pork butt, and I'm just going to do that by making a grid pattern along the pork butt. After injecting, I'm going to apply the rub. This is totally your preference on what rub you'd like to use. The rub I'm using just tends to have a little bit more of a sweeter profile. And I ended up applying probably a medium to medium heavy coat of the rub. So while the rub is setting on the pork butt, I'm going to go ahead and set up the smoker. Here I have a half pan of water filled about halfway full. This is really going to help regulate the temperature and also help with cleanup at the end of the cook. I'm placing a couple of handfuls of briquette charcoal on each side of the water pan. I'm going to start a chimney here to get a few briquettes started. Once they're ready to go, I will just take some tongs and move the briquettes that are already lit into the smoker, and that'll help get the fire started. When you put the grate back on the smoker, make sure the openings are above the briquettes because we'll be adding more briquettes throughout the cooking process. I'm adding 2 small chunks of pecan. I enjoy pecan because I think it gives a nice mild smoke flavor. The thermometer on the lid was over the coals and it was reading at about 300 degrees, so I went ahead and put the pork on over the water pan. Here's a better view where you can see the 2 piles of briquettes on each side of the water pan. Around every 30 minutes, I added 2 or 3 briquettes to each side of the smoker to keep the temperature around 300 degrees. After about an hour on the smoker, I added 2 more small chunks of pecan and spritzed with apple juice. Here's another look at me adding a few more briquettes about every 30 minutes. So before I started wrapping, I wanted to show you guys how I can make the foil just a little bit bigger. This is something that we learned along the way during competition barbecue. But basically you take 2 sheets of foil and then fold the top 3 times, and you do that twice and it gives you a nice big piece of foil to work with. I like to double wrap. It just helps in case that first layer gets ripped. so all of the juices don't leak out. I've had the pork on the smoker for about 2.5 hours, and I really like this color, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap. I'm just going to do a very basic wrap with brown sugar, apple juice, and butter. At this point, if you want, you could finish the pork in your oven at around 250 degrees, but I'm going to go ahead and finish it on the grill and adding briquettes every 30 minutes until the pork is done. At the beginning of the video, I told you guys that I had quite a few pork butts to cook, so I went ahead and fired up our American Barbecue System Pit Boss. This is the cooker we use for competition. It really creates great color on that pork, but I kind of wanted to show you guys what we use for competition. So this pork butt ended up going about 6.5 hours on the Weber Kettle. I was keeping the temperature around 300 degrees. The thermometer on the lid of the kettle was over the coals, so I think if you had the thermometer over the water pan, it may have read a little lower, but the bone pulled out really easily. It wasn't dry. It had really great color and just pulled really easy, super tender. Here you can get a close-up of how great that color is. Here's where I sneak in a bite. It was really tender and had lots of great flavor. So my plan is to vacuum seal and freeze this pork. I'm excited to try it with some different recipes like pulled pork pizza, Cuban sandwiches, maybe pulled pork quesadillas. If you haven't already done so, make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos I do with this pulled pork. Thanks for watching.